Welcome, everyone, to the Drip G Podcast. I'm your host, Uncle G, and with me is myself, No Drip Media Gaming. We record this podcast live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can listen to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And I almost flubbed the intro because, guys, for the first time in a long time, I think I did this maybe one other time with a couple outliers that we're not going to talk about. But I did this podcast. Tonight, I'm doing this podcast all on my own. I want sound effects, and I don't have Drip sound effects because he has them. I made all the sound effects that he plays for the most part, but he has them, and I don't have them set up. So, this is the draft sound. We'll play the draft sound. I also have this sound. There it is. But yeah, so normally I do this show with my co-host Drip, but Drip is not here tonight. It is just me. So myself, and our lovely live chat are here making tonight's episode. And boy, do we have a big episode, because honestly, guys, I wish Drip was here for this one, because there is so much information to talk about. And honestly, I have so little time tonight because I do want to wrap this show up just slightly earlier than I normally do, because we're doing a members podcast directly after this show. So if you guys are not already a member, please go to our YouTube feed. If you're in our live chat right now, it is the pinned live chat at the top of your chat. So please feel free to click that link, become a member, get extra podcast content every month. And this month's episode, again, is happening directly after this podcast is completed. And of course, if you can't be there for the live stream, it's always there for you guys as a video later you guys can check out. And if you have YouTube Premium, or I'm not sure what other phones have this capability, but I believe if you have YouTube Premium, you can just kind of put your phone to sleep, and actually that episode on YouTube can actually pretend to be like a regular podcast, audio only, if you just lock your screen, turn the screen off, and it should keep playing in the background if you have YouTube Premium. But anyway, thank you guys for being here tonight. I'm on my own. I got nothing special. I'm going to get right to it because, again, we have a lot to do tonight, a lot to cover. Hello, Samantha. Samantha's here tonight, guys. Welcome. Samantha's here. Let's press that button. Samantha, it's good to see you. Hello, Jeep. Hi, Samantha. We're going to be talking to the live chat tonight as well. So you guys are part of the episode tonight. So thank you, guys. If you have something to say something, and hopefully I can get to you. Joey, we were talking about some music in the pre-show, and Joey's like, hey, it can't, I know it's not working, G, but I can hum for you if you want. And I think I'm going to have Joey hop in the voice chat on Discord just so I can pull him in and he can hum for the entirety of this episode. I think that'd be a great idea. It would be a great day. Actually, another thing here, Full Metal says something. Great. Thank you for adding to the show tonight. I'm really going to need you guys to be my backup here, especially as I have silent to make earphones, because that's something I don't normally do, is record or stream with nothing in my phones. But I can't do that tonight because I'm having some technical issues. But Joey Pitch says, call me the new Drip. I would love to call you the new Drip, Joey. It's the Joey and G podcast. That even sounds better than the Drip and G podcast. The Joey and G podcast. Let's make that happen. It's the Joey and G podcast. Anywho. I didn't check 5-star reviews, but if you guys wouldn't mind going to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that a ton. I say we, but it's just me tonight. We'd appreciate that a lot. It helps us out as far as the audio feed goes. Getting in the good graces of the Apple algorithm, we would very appreciate that if you guys could leave us a 5-star review. And of course, if you leave your 5-star review, that enables you to be entered automatically for any future giveaway that we do. So make sure to leave a 5-star review and you'll be automatically entered to anything that we do in the future that is a giveaway. Any of those people who are there can get a giveaway. How many times can I say that in a row? If you leave a 5-star review, you can enter to win a giveaway. I don't do this very often on my own, guys, so I apologize. Let's move on. So on Wednesday's episode, we talked about the playtest. The playtest happened, and of course, Nintendo asked everybody so nicely, so kindly, to please not share any information on the playtest. Pretty please. Some people said there was an NDA signed. Some people said there wasn't. I still haven't gotten confirmation exactly whether there was or wasn't an NDA, but as far as I know, Nintendo just was like, pretty please, don't share any screenshots or anything like that. Don't tell people on the internet what's going on with our playtest. We want to keep it between you and us, Nintendo says. Well, Nintendo didn't realize the internet will be the internet, and the internet decided to immediately share all the playtest information as soon as it went live. Even before that, people hacked into, or should I say, people data mined the game file that Nintendo downloaded on your system the day before, and they data mined it, and the whole game leaked anyway. And we talked about that all Wednesday. If you guys want to check out that episode, please feel free to do so. It's in our podcast feed. Yeah, so people data mined it, and we knew all about it. We talked about the playtest on Wednesday before it went live all night long. But I just want to point out a couple things here because I can't show you anything because, of course, Nintendo's taking down everything that people... Nintendo's taking down a lot of content if you show what's going on, the screenshots, the videos, and the playtest. Nintendo's been taking down that content, so I can't show you guys any screenshots or any videos, which I wanted to do and I had planned to do, but I've witnessed it. I don't want to participate because Nintendo will take our stuff down. But I will say this. Funny thing about the playtest, Nintendo did not disable the screenshot feature. So if you guys don't know what I mean, if you should have a Switch if you're watching this show, but if you don't, explain. On the left Joy-Con or any Nintendo Switch controller has a screenshot button. That button takes a picture of your screen and saves it onto your device. And Nintendo also has another feature where you can take those screenshots and you can upload them to social media. I believe it's Twitter and maybe another one I don't know about, but basically Nintendo, and you can also take videos that way as well. Hold down the button. Nintendo forgot to disable that feature. Now, a lot of applications and games on Switch have that functionality disabled for whatever reason. I think one example is the eShop, I think. The eShop is one where you can't take a screenshot. I know that would be relevant anyway. That's just one example. The YouTube, I believe the YouTube app on Nintendo Switch, the screenshot button is disabled. And there's other games that are randomly on Switch that for some reason, whatever reason, we don't know, but the screenshots are disabled. Okay, that's fine. Whatever, developers will make their own choice. That's whatever. Nintendo told everybody, please don't share your screenshots. Don't share your videos on the internet. And then they go ahead and not disable that screenshot button. That's very suspicious to me, okay? Now, we had Johnny on our show on Wednesday, and Johnny brought up this. Johnny said, this was a whole big publicity stunt. Nintendo was just telling people, please don't share our screenshots. Please don't do it. Just so people would and make a way bigger deal about this whole thing than not. If they just would have been silent and didn't say anything to people about this, just said, you're a part of the few group, have fun, and didn't tell people to not share things. The fact that they did tell people not to share things is the reason why it happened. You ever hear of Prohibition? Back in the day, you can't drink. Nuh-uh, it's illegal. And the alcohol industry was the most booming it had ever been, probably in history, as far as our country, during Prohibition. And as soon as Prohibition was lifted, the alcohol settled down. So Nintendo telling people, don't do it. We're going to be very angry with you. We're threatening you. We're empty threats about, deleting your Nintendo Switch account. Yeah, that was just a big publicity stunt. So people would do it. They don't actually care. If you've seen the game, the playtest game, it looks like Roblox and Minecraft, but like a Nintendo-fied version. And it's using the engine, clearly the engine of Game Builder Garage, which is a fine game. It's a cute little game from Nintendo. But it's nothing graphically impressive. It's nothing spectacular. They clearly just use that engine, the bare bones of that game, Game Builder Garage, and turned it into a MMO to stress test the servers. I'm pretty sure that's all that was happening here. It's just to stress test the servers. Proof of concept, if you will. The proof of concept, this Nintendo Switch servers, whether these are the existing servers they already had for Switch or they were new servers, either way, proof of concept that these servers can handle the new load that they want to throw onto it and preparing it for not only this current generation, but also, of course, very clearly the next generation. My buddy here in the chat here, my brother-in-law, Wayne, what's up, Wayne? Wayne says, the NDAs are flexible. NDAs are suggestions, especially if multinational situations exist. And he also says, pretty please. Yes. Thank you for bringing that information, Wayne. Yeah, I actually didn't know that. I thought NDAs were much more strict. I thought I'm sure there are probably NDAs that do exist that are more strict, but I guess what you're saying is in general, NDAs are flexible. They're merely suggestions in most cases. I'm imagining what you're saying in a general way. Because I can't imagine all NDAs are like that. Can't some NDAs be very strict? I guess it depends what the contract says, right? It depends what the contract says. And in this case, with the Nintendo Switch Online people, they probably didn't sign any contracts. They probably were just said, hey, here you go. And also, you brought up a good point, too. That's right. You also remind me again there. Laws are variable from country to country, and this is very much playing into that. This is not just the United States. This is not just Japan. This is all over the world. So it probably gets very complicated of how, even if there was an NDA, like we're saying here, if let's play the game that there was an NDA, it's probably very complicated and impossible to enforce, worldwide. So yeah, doesn't matter. So that's why people are sharing everything. Although what Nintendo can do is people like me, content creators like me, who decide to record their podcast and show the screenshots and videos, I can't get in trouble for that, right? There's nothing going to happen to me. But what's going to happen to the episode that I create, Nintendo can very easily strike it down. And I'm not risking that. So that's why I'm not showing any video feed right now, any pictures. It's a podcast anyway. We're just talking about it. And of course, you guys can Google all this yourself if you want to see any screenshots and whatnot. And also in my Discord, I will share some more information in our Discord, the podcast Discord. And if you're not in it, please get in it. The link is in your podcast feed. But yes, we'll share some information over there on our Discord server as well. I actually will share this Blue Sky account, this social media account. It has all this information. I will share it in our Discord so you guys can see it. I just can't show you right now. I'm going to take a sip of water while Drip's not here, so it's going to be silent for a second, so I apologize. Hi. I know my podcast app is, this feels like a real podcast. Like it's just me and a mic. Like Drip's not even here. So my podcast app is called Pocket Casts, speaking of podcast apps. And my app has plenty of features in it. One of the features is to trim silence. So when it detects silence, like this, it just skips to the part right now where I start speaking again. So all that silence gets automatically skipped out. So if you guys don't have a good podcast app, I recommend finding a good podcast app. They're very good. If you have podcasts out there that are well produced, like mine, and sound really good and crisp, and you also listen to other podcasts that don't sound really good and crisp, they sound like shit, but you like the content, my podcast app, Pocket Cast, will also enhance those audio waves so they all sound more consistent from your phone and sound better too. So there's a little EQ function, and it makes the content louder and adds some compression. So if there's people out there who don't mix their podcast very well, a good podcast app will fix that for you. So you don't have to turn up the volume for some podcasts because they're too quiet, but then lower the volume for other podcasts. Like if you're watching some podcasts back to back, that can happen. If you watch podcasts, listen to podcasts, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, find a good podcast app. All right. I'm going to look at the chat quickly here. I'm calling Mr. Nintendo right now. Yes, Mr. Nintendo. Mr. Nintendo. Yes. The people who make their own NDAs think they are way serious. I thought they were serious, but Nintendo probably takes it seriously. But I guess legally, there's nothing really Nintendo can do about it. What if again? We're going to talk to chat tonight, so sorry about audio listeners, but I'm going to read their stuff here. Joey Pitt says, "What if this was nothing, but just to get attention away from the Switch 2?" That's an interesting theory, Joey. That's a very, very interesting theory. I want to go over quickly. We're getting close. We all know we're getting close to the Switch 2. It's happening soon. But it's not quite ready yet. At this point, it's not happening in October. It's not happening this week. It's not happening next week. When's it going to happen? Is it going to be November? Unlikely. Unlikely, possibly, but unlikely. So it's 2025. The thing's going to be announced in 2025. I think it's going to be early 2025. My initial prediction was right about now, actually. I think I said this week. It was during this week. My prediction a few months ago was this week of October. It's not happening. It's not happening this week of October. I was wrong. Yeah, man, this is not this show. We're not talking about Switch 2, but if I had to make a guess, it's absolutely in 2025. You can just wipe away 2024 as a possibility. It's just Nintendo has already done so clearly. Oh, I got text messages from my fiance. Is she part of the chat? Oh, she's sending me moo dang things. Me, when somebody says they don't want their pickle. That's too bright here. I'm sorry, audio listeners. This is a very visual thing. Moo dang is so cute. You guys see Moo dang? Moo dang is so cute. Okay. Moving on. I want to say this too. By the way, this was the first time Johnny has ever been right. Johnny, our guest from Wednesday, this is the first time he's ever been right. Johnny is finally right about this being a big publicity stunt. I really do think this playtest thing was just a big publicity stunt to draw attention to Nintendo. And it worked. It worked so well. It worked so well that during our show on Wednesday, not sure if you guys noticed during a live stream, but our show on Wednesday, our live numbers spiked. We actually had triple the number of viewers that we normally have during Wednesday's stream. And that was unintentionally because we're doing our show live right at the moment when they turned the playtest live. So people were searching up stuff on YouTube, like playtest related things, right as we were live. So our live stream probably was put on the homepage of YouTube or something. Because we had great turnout on Wednesday, and I'm sure that was because it was all a bunch of new people, and I'm sure it was because they were looking up for playtest videos, and here we were live right then. So that was good planning on me, but it was totally accidental. Hippo memes, yes. Mudang and Pesto are the eye bleach we needed this year. Yes. Oh boy. Don't make me think about the rest of this year. If you're in the U.S., there's a big election happening pretty soon, so. We need some eye bleach. Okay. So another thing I want to talk about here. Yooka-Replaylee. That's what the game is called. It's a remaster game. The original game was called Yooka-Replaylee. Okay. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. If you're in the live chat, I'm going to copy and paste this right in there so you guys can read it. I will spell it Yooka-Replaylee. If you guys know, I've never heard of this game. Okay. I've never heard of this game before. Never seen it before. Apparently it's getting a remaster. And I think it's the developer. I'm not sure who this is, but Slaytonic is the account that tweeted this. Do I have that tweet? Shit. I don't have that tweet. Yeah, I don't have that tweet. I don't have the trailer. I don't have that tweet. So I apologize. I can't show you guys what I wanted to show you, but again, it's a podcast anyway, so it's okay. Slaytonic tweeted and announced their new game. That's a remaster of their old game, Yooka-Replaylee. You guys have probably heard this. It happened yesterday on the internet. It was going bazonkers is the word I chose in my head. It was going bazonkers. And at the end of the trailer, when it was time to tell us what consoles this game would be coming to, it listed Xbox, PlayStation 5, it did the whole regular thing, Steam, PC, right? But when it came time to announce what Nintendo console would be coming to, if at all, it just had the Nintendo logo, the regular circular, cylindrical? I don't know, what shape is that logo? The regular pill-shaped Nintendo logo. Instead of saying Nintendo Switch, like it always does with the Switch logo, it did not have that. It just had Nintendo, and even more than that, there are these two little googly eyes that popped up at the end of the Nintendo logo, right above it, and it just was blinking eyes, as if to suggest, hinting at something we don't know. But of course, the internet being the internet, we all kind of know what they're suggesting. They made a choice by not saying Nintendo Switch. They could have just said Nintendo Switch. Because most likely, the next console is going to be Nintendo Switch 2. So it's interchangeable. And of course, this game's going to be backwards compatible, I think. That is up for debate, whether the game is going to be backwards compatible with the regular Switch, because they didn't say Nintendo Switch. They said Nintendo with googly eyes at the end, hinting that something more is happening. And actually, at first, I believed that. I didn't believe that. I was like, they're just playing with us. They're just fucking with us, right? They just wanted some of their own publicity. This company, Slaytonic, with their game that I haven't heard about, and probably a lot of people haven't. They just wanted some publicity. So they're like, let's just put Nintendo and fuck with people, right? Well, Slaytonic tweets out, and again, I don't have this tweet to show on screen. I did have it yesterday, but I forgot to save it. Slaytonic fed into that. And also in their tweet announcing the game, of course, they had the systems announced for this game. And it was all the regular crew was there. Everybody was there. Nintendo was there too, but they didn't say Nintendo Switch. They said Nintendo. They tweeted the word Nintendo. Not the logo, of course, because it's a tweet, but just the regular words of Nintendo and the eyeball emoji right after it. So once again, they did it twice, suggesting that eyeball thing, that wasn't just like we're messing with you. I really feel like they know something we don't. This developer, again, I'm sorry if this is not a developer, if it's a publisher or whoever Slaytonic is. We're just going to go with developer for now. Slaytonic wanted us to believe that they knew something that we didn't know. And maybe they do know something we don't know. Maybe they don't. They want publicity. I don't know what the answer is to that. What I do know is they know where their game's going. That I do know. They know where their game's going. And they did not say Nintendo Switch. They said Nintendo. Does that mean it's not coming to the original Nintendo Switch? I don't know. It's possible it's not. Because don't you think they would put Nintendo Switch? Unless it's the thing. We can go in circles with this. It's really impossible to know. There was videos on the internet yesterday and today. Articles on the internet to read, and all that was saying Nintendo Switch 2 game has been announced. It's the first Nintendo Switch 2. So there's people who I respect out there. Some people who I respect on YouTube was posting videos like that. I respectfully disagree in your certainty. Now, of course, that's clickbait, and we all have to do clickbait to a certain extent. I think the very existence of clickbait bothers a lot of people out there. They think that, any clickbait is too much clickbait. And unfortunately, if you're trying to gain any sort of traction, because we all don't just do this for the love of the game, okay? As much as some people want you to believe out there, like I love Casey Neistat to death, but my man said he does it for himself. Yeah, I bet you when you get to 25 million subscribers, and you're as accomplished filmmaker as you are, and you don't need to worry about money, yeah, you do it for yourself. You do it for the love of the game. It's not true. Like, we all do this because whether we want money or we want attention, a little bit of both, or we just want validation, right? It could be any combination of those. So, yes, some people need to clickbait out there, but I respectfully disagree with a lot of people out there who have posted, this is this next Switch 2 game. We don't know that. We know nothing about that. That is honestly getting somebody to click on to expect a real announcement happened, but then they click on the video and they go, oh, that was it? And they get disappointed. Like, I hope people realize out there that when they do stuff like that, you're just creating a very unhealthy environment between your audience and yourself. Even if it gets views and clicks, you're creating an unhealthy environment. Now, our podcast is guilty of clickbait, and have we gone over that line that is not a clear, it's a very blurred line because it's impossible to really set a real line with clickbait. But have we gone over that blurred line sometimes too far? I'm not saying we haven't, but we do our best. We do our best not to go over that line. And there's some channels who just do it every day. They go over that line every day, and that is not something I try to strive for. So all that to say is this is interesting information. I think Slaytonic know something we don't. This developers of this game, Yooka-Replaylee, they know where their game's going next. They know where their game's going. They had to develop it. It's ready to go. It's been announced. They know where their game is going. Okay. We don't though, and they didn't tell us where. They just said Nintendo. So it's probably a next console game, but we don't know that. We can't confirm that. So interesting little topic here. Wayne says, I respectfully disagree with your backwards cat. I mean, would you rather this, Wayne? Would you rather this? Is this better for you? Is this what you want? Is this what I took my hat off, by the way. Do you want my bald head, guys? Is this what you really want? I don't think you really want. The audio listeners like, I don't give a fuck. Just talking to the microphone, G. But people watching out there, you know that you don't want to see that bald head. I'm gonna take another sip of my water and we'll move on. Okay, and before we move on, Joey Pitts in the chat says, hey, Jeep, side note, Yooka-Laylee is a highly recommended game by me. It's a hell of a 3D platformer. And listen, Joey, I was watching that reveal trailer of that game, and I gotta say, It looks like Mario Odyssey, which is neither a good or bad thing. I'm just saying what I observed. Yooka-Replaylee, whatever the hell the game's called. It looks like Mario Odyssey. Like, way too close, in my opinion. I feel like it's almost a ripoff. Almost. I'm sure, but I haven't played it. So I before I go out spewing it's a ripoff, I will absolutely I'll check it out. I don't know if I want to buy it, but I mean, I'll look into it. But it does look good. I will say this. It does look good. And it's getting remastered. It's going to look even better than it originally did. So it looks great. It was made by old devs from Rare. From 90s Rare. Okay. I mean, that's promising. That they made some good shit back then. Of course, Banjo-Kazooie. A really great platformer. Okay. Moving on to the next and our final topic for tonight, guys. On this episode where it's just me, myself, and a microphone. And of course the chat's here. I really do appreciate the chat helping out tonight. It helps me distract me from getting, mic shy or nervous or whatever. Because that happens. That can happen. Social anxiety. Okay, let's move on. The Pokemon stuff. This is what you're here for. This is what you clicked on the video for. I would say I don't know where to begin, but I do know where to begin because I have it written down very nice for myself. There was a massive leak. A terabyte of information of like screenshots and text files, right? Not videos. A terabyte of like pictures and text files. A terabyte. Think about that. That's a lot. Was leaked. A guy on 4chan apparently hacked into Game Freak's servers. Somehow, some way, I don't know how they did it. Apparently, though, they did it in a way that would suggest they're not like a professional. They're not like a leaker. Like, they don't do this for a living. They're not like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? This is where Drip would help me. So yeah, it was just some guy, basically. Just some guy leaked in, somehow hacked into Game Freak servers and found the mother load of information. And I'm going to go over not the information, but necessarily I have some information I will go over, but we're going to run down this whole thing. And then we're going to talk about some of it after I've run it down. We're just going to run down this whole list and then go back at this list and talk about the highlights of it. So, let's just start with this. Personal employee data. We're starting off at a real good point here. In this data leak, employees phone numbers, home addresses, salary information, probably their social security numbers, all that kind of stuff was leaked. We're not starting off at a good note here because if it was just some guy, and we'll get to why I think this is really egregious later, but this was just some guy who just wanted to share some Pokemon stuff with the fans. This is ridiculous. Why would you leak this information? All you've done is really hurt a bunch of people who are innocent in all this, have nothing to do with this. They're just employees. Why would you do this? That's really, really annoying. But moving on to the actual Pokemon stuff that leaked. Original source code from the X and Y games. Those are the games on 3DS. Future game details. I just put that in there vaguely because again, there is a terabyte of information. That's why I had to really kind of condense this stuff. But future game details. Codename Ounce, which we talked about on Wednesday's show. Codename Ounce is the Nintendo Switch 2s, or whatever the next console is going to be called. That Ounce is the codename for the next Switch. That information leaked out as well, officially. Ounce also came with it, the leak that 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage and an NVIDIA Tegra processor is all confirmed for the next console from this data leak. Okay. So this is the real Pokemon information. The code names. Pokemon ZA code names. The code name for Pokemon ZA. ZA, if you will. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it ZA, like pizza. Actually, I'm probably going to end up calling that game Pokemon Pizza. We're going to be calling that game Pokemon Pizza. But Pokemon ZA, the Legends game, the next one in the series that's coming out next year, its code name has been leaked. And its code name is... How do I pronounce this? Ikaku. I think it's Ikaku. Ikkaku. How many times can I say it? I'm going to spell it for you guys. Ikkaku. Again, Ikkaku. Ikkaku. So that's its code name. Run with it. The least could suggest a cross-gen title via two versions of the game. So basically, the leak also kind of confirmed that Pokemon ZA is going to be cross-gen. It's going to have a original Switch version, and it's going to be and it's going to have a Switch 2 version. So the game is going to release on both platforms. So it's safe to say whenever we get an announcement of Pokemon Pizza, we're also going to have we're also going to have the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement as well. Somewhere in that ballpark, because I wouldn't be surprised if Pokemon ZA, or better known as Pokemon Pizza, is also, I forget what I was going to say. Moving on. Okay. Right. So code names. Another code name, Synapse. Codename Synapse is said to be co-developed, possibly an MMO. So there's a whole new game. Okay. Now in this Pokemon League, a whole new game leaked. It has a code name. We know its code name is Synapse. And Synapse is going to be a co-developed game, so it's not just going to be Game Freak. It could be Ilka, the other developer who works a lot with Pokemon, and it could be somebody else. We don't know. But it's going to be we do know it's co-developed, and it's probably an MMO style game. So kind of like Pokemon Unite, something like that. Something in the ballpark of Pokemon Unite. All right. Here we go. Gaia. We know the code name now for the Gen 10 Pokemon game that has yet to be announced, but of course we know it's coming. And I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out next year. Is Pokemon Gaia, or it's not Pokemon Gaia, it's the code name Gaia. Generation 10 has been leaked. Gaia, a lot of information in Gaia has been leaked. Apparently some of the information has been held back, and we'll get to that again in a little bit. But Gaia is an open world game, and Gaia is a game that's based on an island exploring, quote unquote. You know, I read and watched a bunch of different pieces of content yesterday to read up on all this to be prepared for it. So that's kind of the note I wrote down is, it's island exploring themed. So we don't know exactly what that means, but that's what we got. Getting some weird stuff now. Here's some weird stuff. Well, this isn't too weird, but this is scratch Pokemon sprites. Basically a bunch of sprites leaked, and you can go find, again, all this stuff is searchable and findable if you want. It's all up on the internet. It's never going anywhere. It's there forever now. So it kind of reminded me of like a collector's edition art book, like our Tears of the Kingdom one. A bunch of sprites of Pokemon, old, new, future, unreleased, scrapped, all of it. The sprites have been the art of those sprites has been leaked. I would guess there's tens or thousands of sprites in this thing. So go ahead and find that for if you want. You know, feel free. I'm not putting that on our stream because the Pokemon Company will come and destroy us. They've done it before. When Post Malone was doing his Pokemon concert, if you guys remember that a couple of years back, Drip and I put up no sound, just a quick 15-second B-roll clip of Post Malone's Pokemon concert. Stream got taken down. So, yeah, we're not doing this leak stuff. All right, here's the weird stuff. Some unreleased Pokemon lore was leaked. So some lore of Pokemon games, whether it was scrapped or it's for future stuff or just was never released. Some lore in that was leaked. And it gets kind of weird, man. I'm not going to get into very specifics with it. But it's like kinky, creepy shit. Like the one involves Pokemon and humans interacting, if you will. And I want to say this too. I didn't see this. I didn't read what was written, but what I did read was someone else who did read it. So this is hearsay, right? I don't know can't confirm it. It could be a big joke because again, a terabyte of information, no one's going to go in, no regular person, and I consider myself a regular person here, is going to go in there and read a terabyte and go through all those pictures and look at a terabyte of information like that. I just read some articles and watched some videos to catch myself up so I could inform myself. enough to talk about this tonight. So I can't confirm for sure, but apparently Pokemons and people. That's crazy. And this is from Game Freak, guys. This is not like fan fiction. This is from Game Freak themselves. That's crazy that that information was on their servers. Crazy to me, if it's true. Take everything with a grain of salt until you read it yourself, but crazy. So I'm moving on to film and TV. Some details on the upcoming Pokemon films and TV projects have leaked. Like, we have names and plot points for TV shows and film projects. That's crazy. The one I will quickly go over is Detective Pikachu. Apparently a third is going to make it into a trilogy. They have plans to make Detective Pikachu a trilogy, and the third movie will have Game Boy themes. I don't know exactly what that means, but that sounds pretty cool to me. I think that's pretty cool that they're going to use the Game Boy in some way. I can't really picture what that would be like, but I'll tell you one thing. If the movie is called Detective Pikachu Game Boy, I'll be there release night because I love the Game Boy. That is so cool. If they do something cool with that, I'd be there for it. All right. Information has been held back allegedly because the fan who leaked this information, quote, doesn't want to spoil. Well, it's not a quote, but the fan, quote unquote, who doesn't want to spoil things for the community. So this guy who leaked all this information, I'm assuming based off of what's the reports here, it's just a guy. It wasn't like a hacker, a known hacker or anything. Just a guy who got lucky and hacked into the Game Freak servers for clout. Right. He apparently didn't want to spoil very specific things, in particular for upcoming Pokemon games that like ZA and Gaia, the codename Gaia. He did not want to leak specific things for that. He said, basically kind of saying he respects the fan base too much. He didn't want to ruin it for all those people. Which at first I thought was a really nice sentiment. I'm like, that's actually commendable by this leaker. I think that's really cool because that keeps that information off the internet, because most of the information that was shared was for unreleased projects that weren't ever coming to fruition, or old projects like the X and Y games that, like, who really cares, with that information, that information, it's old information. The game's already been out for years. If they show some background information, but if anything, it's cool that they can do that. But I thought it was commendable that they weren't going to show any information for upcoming Pokemon games to spoil it for people. But I want to bring you guys back for a second here. This is the same guy who also leaked personal employee data. I'm confused. If you're such a great guy and you don't want to ruin the games for people, why did you leak employees' data? It's not like you're being a Robin Hood and you leaked like the CEO's, you doxed the CEO, right? Because he makes too much money or whatever. Like, if you're trying to be like Robin Hood, not that I approve of that either, but it's not like you were being Robin Hood here. Regular, hardworking, blue collar people who just are game developers, right? And probably others as well. There probably wasn't just the game developers. The janitor's name was probably in there too, right? Your uncle's cousin's janitor who works at Nintendo. Yeah, his information got leaked from this data leak. Why would you do that? Why would you leak their information, but then in the same breath go, well, I held back Pokemon Pizza information and Codename Guy information because I don't want to spoil those games for us Pokemon fans. I want to keep that. I want to keep that for myself, apparently, and but not spoil it for you guys so you guys don't know. But also, here's my cousin's uncles who works at Nintendo's janitor's home address. So do with that what you want. It doesn't track. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't like this guy. I don't like that this information got out there. Most data leaks, iPhone leaks, iMessage leaks, all these things that get on the internet. Most of it is, immoral anyway. And of course, that's subjective because we all have different morals. But there should be some pretty standard morals, a moral code out there. I believe there's a pretty standard moral code. It's not any religious one. It's just a humanitarian one. It includes not to kill people, right? We all can agree not to kill people, I think, right? I think in one of those, another one is not to harm your neighbor for no reason. For not to cause harm to somebody for absolutely no reason. Why would you cause harm to somebody? All these people. Now their information is out there. Information that was private, that was never going to be leaked anywhere. Unless something like this happens. It's just filthy to me. It's stupid this guy did that. It makes me upset. So it's bad for the employees, of course. It's bad for Pokemon people out there. Actually, it's kind of this leak is good for a lot of people, to be honest with you, because a lot of this information is not harming anybody. It's just Pokemon leaks of old games that it's pretty cool to see that information get out there. Except for the employee stuff. But this is really bad. This is really bad for Game Freak, guys. This is really bad for Game Freak. I mean, this is bad for Nintendo. It's really bad for Game Freak. I mean, the fact that their security was this low, that some asshole with a very minor computer background was able to hack into their servers and steal all of this information, most of it harmless stuff, but some harmful stuff too. That employee information should really be kept behind multiple closed doors with multiple keys. And I can't believe some guy, some idiot was able to hack in there and steal that stuff and post it out for everyone to see. But this is a bad look for Game Freak. It's bad, again, it's really bad for Nintendo, but it's worse for Game Freak. I mean, you're already getting criticized out there for, stealing people's money, making shitty games, making, bank robbing games because you didn't put any effort in. You didn't put enough effort in for the money that you made. You knew every time every time there's a project from Game Freak, Pokemon related, of course, they're making a buttload of money. It's a guarantee. It's like swiping a credit card, make a new game, your transaction into your bank account, and yet they don't have the resources for their own choices. So they're stealing our money, and they're not taking care of their employees and their company. It's bullshit, man. It's bullshit. I think they need to do better. Nintendo, Game Freak needs to do better. We've said that for years as far as their games, and now when they need to do better, as far behind closed doors, they need to do better. They need to make sure those closed doors are fucking locked. There's my F-bomb. Did I do it already? Maybe. I don't know. PG-13, baby. But yeah, guys, that's all this stuff here. That's all the information. I'm going to quickly go over chat quickly here. Make sure anybody has any good thing to add here. Joey Pitt says, the realization Drip is not here because he's the one who leaked the Nintendo and Nintendo found him and did Nintendo things. And that's why he's not here. Joey, who knows, man? Who knows? Interesting. That's not spelled correctly as far as what is written here. Power Mad. So Power Mad's is putting something here. IKAKU means intimidation or threat. I imagine in Japanese. You didn't specify what language that is, but that's interesting. Pokemon threat. That's an interesting code name. I wonder what it means. If that of course is what they were going for. Gen 10 better have a Pokemon that looks like a pipe leaking water in honor of the leaking information. Johnny, that would be sick. Wouldn't that be sick? Just to have like of course, a Pokemon looking character that's like a pipe that leaks liquid. Like from a spout or something. I don't know. Like how funny would that be? In honor of the leaks. Anything in the leak that says GBA Pokemon games coming to NSO? Not that I saw, Joey, but again, like I said, I only watched videos and read articles to inform myself. I didn't actually look over the leak information. I didn't go to 4chan and look it up. So it's possible, but I did not see it. Again, you can look this up yourself. Anybody listening at home, you can just search Pokemon data leak. You're going to find a buttload of information. So feel free to comb through it. There's some good YouTube videos out there who have already done it, so where you could find some of those videos, and they'll probably help you out there too. The social contract. We live in society, so too bad you should be nice to each other. Yeah, that's the language I was looking for. Full Metal. A social contract. We all have. We have a social contract as humans, and to not intentionally harm somebody for literally no reason. This guy has no reason to leak has no beef with Pokemon employees. So why'd he leak their information? So yeah, that's going to wrap up this episode, guys. Again, I want to stress that I want to thank you guys for being here for this episode, whether you're listening on audio feeds or watching this on YouTube. No drip tonight. So it was just me, a different kind of episode, a different feel, of course, because it's just my dumbass here on a microphone without two guys interacting like you normally expect. Drip and Jeeb. Wait, all backwards. Drip and Jeeb. Wearing my Drip and Jeeb hoodie. My Drip and Jeeb merch that we don't sell anymore. Maybe we'll sell it again in the future. I don't know. But yes, guys, thank you so much for being here. Please make sure to subscribe to this channel if you have not done so on YouTube. We are so fucking close. We are 60 subscribers away from our goal of 1K on the podcast. That would be great if we could get that done before the end of the year. If not, no biggie, but that's our goal. We set that goal at the beginning of the year, and we're really close to it. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Of course, leave a like in the stream. We're going to go hang out in the after show for just a few minutes. So if you're in the stream, hang out. We're going to hang out in the after show. But if you guys are listening on the audio feeds, we're going to see you guys next week.